Thousands of visitors to Mystic drive up and down Route 27 every day. Past the shops at Old Mystic Village and the aquarium, past the seaport, to the downtown and its iconic drawbridge. Most probably pay little attention to the dilapidated farmhouse on the west side of Greenmanville Avenue. But behind this farmhouse is a landscape that offers a glimpse into almost 400 years of history.
Welcome to the Coogan farm. We're going to be able to take sort of a little walk through history here. You leave busy Route 27, you walk 50 yards down this little lane, and it's as though you're transported to a different time and place. You know, it's sort of a much more rural Connecticut. And this land has been farmed dating back to the time when John Gallup first owned the property in the late 1640s.
Back when the Connecticut landscape was dominated by cleared farmland, one could easily find a clear view across the Mystic River without so many modern obstructions.
One of the things you'll notice is all the sky here. It's much more open than most places are now in Connecticut. Now we have over 80% of our state forested, as sort of the whole post-agricultural era. Everything's grown back, and what were once farm fields are now forests.
But even in the forest, evidence of the land's previous use remains visible.
So when we first started walking up here, most of these stone walls were completely covered in bittersweet. And as we started to clear off the stone walls, we realized that we have something really unique and special here. They're quite old. They date back to the 1640s. And it's just remarkable to think that these same walls were here back in the 1600s, almost 400 years of use on this property. So as we started to clear off sections of the stone wall and assess what we had, we noticed that just about every entrance to a pasture still has its original stone gate posts with their original iron pintles. And all of these gate posts and stones were actually quarried on the property. So here's one of the quarries that we didn't even know this was here until we put this trail in, and we actually have found some old photographs when this hillside would have been completely cleared off that show people, early 1900s standing in the quarry, working on the land.
Farther up the hill, one encounters a very different type of stonework.
This foundation dates back to the late 1890s, and it fits into the whole story of the land here. So it was owned by John Gallup, and then later the Greenman brothers farmed it for a number of years. And there was one surviving Greenman brother in the late 1890s, George Greenman, and he ended up selling the land to one of his cousins, Thomas Stillman, and his wife, Charlotte Greenman Stillman. And they lived in New York City, and they wanted to build a summer cottage. They got this far in the construction process, and Mrs. Stillman died quite suddenly. She was in her late 50s, and so construction was just stopped.
Walter Morgan bought the land in 1902, and his daughter Clara married Clarence Coogan in 1918. The farmhouse on Greenmanville Avenue was the Coogan family home for years, until the property was acquired by the Denison Pequotsepos Nature Center last year.
It's just right in our backyards, and yet you race by it on Route 27, you would never know that that little driveway, opens up into this pretty expansive landscape of an old farm that's still, it's really an intact historic landscape. And most people don't realize that it's right here in Mystic, and I think that's one of the things that makes it so special.